So these are the classified MCQs, multiple choice question related to topic 1.5 forces. So in the first one, a uniform plank rests on a pivot at its center. Two children P and Q sit on the plank in the position as shown. The mass of P is 25 kg and the plank is balanced. What is the mass of Q? So you can use the idea of the moment, the turning effect. Or you can also use the idea about whenever we want to balance the two objects which are having different masses. So lighter objects are always away from the pivot and the heavy objects should be closer to the pivot. To balance the turning effect or the moment of each other. So they already mentioned the mass of a P is 25. So if P is 25 kg and Q is further from the pivot, so it means its mass will be less than 25. Which option is less than 25? So 20 is less than 25. That's why A will be the right answer. So whenever we want to balance the two objects of different masses on the pivot, the heavy objects are closer and the lighter objects are away from the pivot. That is one way. Another way you can use a turning effect, like the clockwise and anti-clockwise turning effects will be equal. So the turning effect of this boy will be 25. Even though it's a mass, we don't have to convert into weight because the ratio as we are taking. So 25 into 1.2 is a anti-clockwise turning effect, the clockwise turning effect, the mass of the Q multiplied by 1.5, the distance from pivot. So we just compare 25 into 1.2, Q into 1.5. So 1.5 is multiplied, other side it will be divided. So 25 into 1.5 divided by 1.2, that will give us the value for Q. Is it clear, this one?
Yes.
So there are two ways to do this question. A direct method was you just take the positions and the lighter Q should be lighter or less than 25. So only option which is less than 25 is A. In question 2, the diagram shows three forces acting on the object. What is the value for the resultant force? First, 9 Newton is towards right and 1 Newton is towards left. So the resultant of these two, when two forces are acting in opposite direction, we get the resultant by subtraction. So means the resultant of these two will be 8 Newton towards right and 6 Newton is upward. So whenever two forces are perpendicular or 90 degrees to each other, we use the Pythagoras theorem, that is 6 square plus 8 square in a root. So 6 square is 36 and 8 square is 64 in a root. 36 plus 64 is 100 in a root and 100 in a root will be 10. So whenever two forces are acting perpendicular to each other, how to get the resultant is by Pythagoras theorem. And when two forces are acting in the same direction, we add to get the resultant. If they're acting in opposite direction, we subtract to find the resultant. Is it a clear question too?
Yes.
In this one, a 20-meter long uniform bridge, 100 kilonewton is a weight, and it is supported at each pillar by at each end by a pillars as shown. Two pillars exerted the force T1 and T2. What will be the value of T1 and T2 when the van of weight 24 kilonewton is on the bridge 5 meters from the left pillar? So this distance is 5. Now when two supports are there, whenever two supports are there, how to get the value? You have to take one as a pivot, any one of them as a pivot. You can take T1 as a pivot, you can take T2 as a pivot. It's up to you. Any one of them you have to take as pivot. So example, I'm taking this support as a pivot, the point of rotation. So this 24 kilonewton is causing a clockwise rotation. 1000 Newton is also causing a clockwise rotation and T2 is causing an anti-clockwise rotation. So when we write the equation, so this will be 24 times the distance from the pivot, it's 5 plus, because this is also causing a moment in same direction, so we add, so it will be 100 times the distance, it is 10. So 24 into 5 and 100 into 10. Why I took 10? Because it's a uniform bridge. Whenever an object is uniform,
1120.
and that is equals to T2. That is equals to T2 times the distance from the pivot is 20. So 24 into 5 plus 1000 into 10 divided by 20. What's the final answer? What's the answer for T2?
56.
56. So which option? T2 is 56. So only one option, T2 is 56. So C will be the right answer. So we can solve for T1 as well. Like if we want to do for T1, like T1 is acting up, T2 is acting up, 24 is acting down, 100 is acting down, and T2 is 56. So we subtract 124 minus 56, we get 68. We can get T1 as well, but only if we work out T2, only option T2 with the option of 56 is C. So that's why C is the right answer for this. Is it clear, discussion? So whenever you see two supports, you have to consider one as a pivot. Sorry. Any doubt in this?
No, sir.
Okay. Then we have question 4. In this question, a spring which obeys the Hooke's law is unstretched length, means the length of a spring without any load is 10, which is L0. A 20 Newton load is suspended and the new length L is 36. If you need the spring constant is force divided by extension. We applied a force of 20 Newton. How much is it extended? It was 10 centimeter long, but now it is 36 centimeters, so it has extended by 26. Because it's always the new length minus the original length to get the extension. So new length was 36, original length was 10. So when we take a difference, it's 26. So 20 divided by 26, so it will be 0.77 Newton per centimeter. So B will be the right answer for this. Is it clear, this one?
Yes, sir.
So these are some questions related to topic forces.